So for our next topic, so we have painting. So most of the topics for painting are already covered on the previous lesson that we have. The kinds of subject, how to present your subject are part of the discussion on visual arts. So yun. So dito, magfo-focus tayo on the kinds of materials, the mediums that is used to create a painting. Okay, but of course, we will still define what painting is. The very simple definition of painting is applying paint, pigment, color, or other mediums to a surface. Compared to drawings, liquid materials ang ginagamit naman sa painting. Brief history of painting. So it originated in France, the formal kind of painting, and then the oldest paintings, paintings, were actually found in caves. The earliest evidence of painting was found in Arnhem Land in Australia. So mga ano to, cave paintings. May theory actually na baka mas nauna pa daw tayong mag-drawing kaysa makapag-establish ng formal language. As in ito, itong ginagamit natin. Baka mas nauna pa tayong mag-create, mag-sketch, mag-draw ng image sa wall. Kasi 'di ba kung isipin mo nga, hirap makapag-formulate ng kind of communication like letters and then writing system, ganyan, and then sound, phonetics. So it's hard to come up with those things. But yung drawing, you can just imitate what you see on nature. And then if you have materials like yun nga, charcoal, pwedeng plants around you na may kulay, and then siguro even blood can be used to create different kinds of cave paintings. So yan. Yan yung mga usual topic nila. Animals, people, people hunting animals. So yun yung mga nagiging ano nila, nagiging subject sa sinaunang mga cave drawings ng ating ancestors. So kung ano yung nakikita nila on their daily life, that's the content of their cave paintings. Next, the purpose of paintings is to commemorate historical events. Before, wala pang technology, so you cannot really take pictures or take videos, you know. So to commemorate events, to freeze that event, that one moment in time, we use drawings, paintings, sketches. And the next also is recognition of religious activities, practices, just to siguro commercialize, or sabihin na natin na advertisement ng religion para kumalat siya, dinaan niya through painting. Kaya mostly, especially mga Catholic and Christian church, they have elaborate designs on the exterior and the interior of their churches. Tinatawag nila yung visual catechism. So next, we have different media of painting. Okay, so different mediums that use to create painting. So first medium that we have is watercolor. So these are easily pigments mixed with water and then applied to paper. It's usually solid in form, and then pag nilagyan mo ng tubig, magiging liquid siya, and then you can apply it on paper. The colors are applied in layers and made brighter by addition of application after the first layer has dried up. This technique is called layering. Paper is the most common use ground for watercolor, in the sense na dun lang talaga siya nababagay. So it's not flexible in terms of surface. Hindi siya kakapit halimbawa sa wood. Ganun. Hindi maganda yung kalalabasan. Hindi siya kakapit halimbawa sa dingding natin, cement. Hindi rin. Halimbawa glass. Hindi rin siya pwede. So limited yung kanyang nakukulayan na surface or kumakapit na surface. Advantage siguro ng ng watercolor, madali siyang mahanap. So on any school supply shop, as cheap as 10 to 20 pesos, meron ka ng watercolor that you can use. Tapos medyo mas madali siyang gamitin kasi wala ka ng prep na nagagamitan, like ibababad mo pa or something, special brush, ganyan. Wala, lagyan mo lang ng tubig, ma-activate na yun, and then you're good to go. Kaya lang, ang dami niyang kumbaga cons na pros and cons, ang dami niyang downside ng watercolor. First, hindi siya talaga pang beginner, pang advanced na siya, kasi ang hirap ma-achieve nung ibang effects or texture gamit lang ang watercolor kasi sobrang nipis niya. It fades through time, parang after 3 hours, 'di ba, magdo-drawing ka or magpe-paint ka gamit ang watercolor, bright red, maya-maya pink na 'yan. Tapos nagka-crack pa siya. So it's not really intended for parang long-lasting kind of artwork. Madali lang siya mabili, pero that's about it. May mga artists nga siguro na skilled na, pero umiiwas pa rin sa watercolor. Okay? But anyways, if you have already mastered watercolor, you can produce works such as this. So pag na-perfect mo na ang watercolor, kaya mo nang gumawa ng gantong mga images. Ganito kaganda. Hopefully, it will inspire you to create watercolor paintings. Next naman is the gouache. The gouache is a pigment that has been mixed with water and added with a chalk-like material to give an opaque effect. So kung mapapansin nyo, yung watercolor is similar to the gouache in the sense na dinadagdagan din ng tubig para magamit natin sa painting. But gouache is different. Gouache is a bit, natin medyo liquid in form, parang paste yung kanyang texture. So yung watercolor, solid kasi yun. It's a solid chunk of color pigments or powder. So yung gouache, ano siya, mas liquid in form. Mas madali gamitin, and then mas flexible, and then mas makakagawa ka ng magagandang artwork such as this. So compared mo naman to dun sa ano natin, di ba? Previous example. Ayan, you can use gouache for these kinds of artworks. Okay, next naman, the most popular, the most widely used by masters of art is the oil paint. Oil paint is the pigment mixed with oil as binder. So it was first discovered by Flemish painter Jan van Eyck. He suspended colored pigments with linseed oil. But before this, before the linseed oil, crude oil yung ginagamit nila. So yung nahukay sa lupa. So it's intended for, oil paints are intended for canvas, wood. It's ideal surface or ideal na mga canvas to use for oil paint. So it can also be applied in cement or glass. It can be textured, meaning it can be put on top of the other, rough texture or smooth texture. So pwede siyang pagpatong-patungan, i-layer. You can apply it thick, you can apply it thin. Isa sa mga advantage niya pa is it's glossy. So ano na siya, makintab siya by default kasi nga oil, 'di ba, makintab. So hindi mo na kailangan gumamit ng iba pang materials para ma-improve ang oil paint. Disadvantage niya, medyo mahal ang oil paint, yung material na oil paint, kaya hindi siya talaga ina-advise pag medyo magsisimula ka pa lang. So you can start siguro with watercolor, you can start with gouache, but not oil paint right away. Okay, kasi medyo expensive siya, hindi siya ganun din madaling bilhin. It's only sold in specialty stores. Isa pang disadvantage siya, matagal siya matuyo. May mga materials ako nakita dati, it takes months bago siya matuyo. Tapos syempre pag nahawakan pa ng tao, kasi may oil din tayo sa katawan, so it reacts. So baka mag-smudge. Yun yung mga disadvantage niya. But given the controlled atmosphere, pwedeng tumagal kasi ang oil paint na talagang sobrang tagal. In this case, dito sa mga ano natin, makikita nyo yung ating examples. Yan, Starry Night, Mona Lisa. Hundreds of years na to. Pero hanggang ngayon, buhay pa rin sila. And these are oil paints. Sa atin naman, ang pinaka siguro sikat is yung gawa ni Juan Luna, yung Spolarium. So up to now, hundreds of years na yung lumipas, ganun pa rin yung state nila. So ganun katindi ang oil paint. Given the situation na talagang proper yung storage. So next we have tempera. So before mauso ang oil paint, so ito muna yung ginagawa nila para ma-achieve yung glossy effect. They use egg yolk as a binder. Tapos they add pigments to it, powdered pigments, para magmukha siyang paint. Ang ideal surface ng tempera is on wood. Tapos it easily dries up and does not dull out of age. Hindi siya, yun nga, nagpe-fade din. So yun. Imagine nyo siguro ilang pula ng itlog ang ginamit sa mga gantong kind of artworks before nila ma-discover na pwede pala yung oil. Hindi ito yung hipon na may breading. Iba yun, tempura yun. This is tempera. Okay, next is fresco. So, isa sa pinaka-challenging siguro na material na gamitin is the fresco because it's pigment mixed with wet plaster. So, yung plaster, sa bahay natin, di ba, may may mga walls, may mga dingding. Yung mga usual walls ng Pilipino gawa sa hollow blocks stacked together. So, para hindi ganun yung itsura ng natin, ng walls natin, para mas maganda siya, lalagyan natin ng palitada na tinatawag. So, yung plaster dito is the palitada on our house. So, para mag-smooth siya, para ma-even out, hindi kita yung mga bricks, i-cover mo yun. So, yun. So, habang basa pa yung palitada na yun, lalagyan mo na siya ng design. Para pag natuyo yung palitada, naka-laminate na kumbaga yung design mo sa loob. Hindi siya basta-basta mabawasak, hindi siya basta-basta madudurog, hindi siya basta aangat or makukutkot or magfe-fade. Dahil parang nakalaminate siya sa loob ng wall mo. So, ganun siya kahirap gawin. And usually, it's intended for walls, for ceilings, for floors, So malaki, massive ang ano ng fresco, size ng fresco. Tinatawag din silang mural. Ang isang painting pag massive siya or malaki, as in isang buong dingding ganyan, ang tawag na is mural. So frescoes are intended for murals. Usually yung mga fresco, as you can see on this example, this is by Michelangelo. So yung Sistine Chapel, yung ceiling ng Sistine Chapel, pinaint niya. He has this decoration, and then si Leonardo da Vinci naman has a very controversial painting because of Dan Brown's yung novel niya, which is the Da Vinci Code. So yan, itong Last Supper naman. So yan, both are fresco, both are interior. So wall siya sa loob ng isang building. Usually for yan, mga Christian purposes sa mga Christian churches. Last not the least is the acrylic. So ito yung pinakamadaling gamitin. It's a synthetic paint. So meaning it's made out of chemicals. Unlike dun sa mga unang nabanggit na medyo biodegradable yung ating materials. It's a medium widely used by contemporary artists, meaning mga modern artists. Yan ang prefer nila, acrylic, kasi it has a quick drying quality. Tapos it's as flexible as oil paint. And then versatility of the acrylic paint allows it to be applied to almost any type of surface. So yung mga nabibili natin sa hardware na mga paints are acrylic paints na yan. Yung mga ginagamit natin sa dingding natin, interior or exterior of our house. One of the most popular contemporary artists na gumagamit ng acrylic ay si Andy Warhol. So yun yung ginawa niya, yung portrait ni Michael Jackson at saka yung Campbell soup. Yan yung mga ginawa ni Andy Warhol using acrylic paints.